Hello, hello. It's time again for Daily Endeavours. It's Friday today, 29th of August. As always, time codes in the description if you just want to skip stuff. You know how it is. This set's, depending on if you've got a survey in your inventory or if you'll get one today from Ritz, this will be pretty easy. If not, your other two options can be a little bit annoying, but Resource and Cyrodiil is usually not too bad either. But yeah, Trial will definitely be the slowest. So yeah, I'd go Woodworking, Survey Report, and 2 stages in the Infinite Archive. This is just the initial like little rounds with just 3 waves of enemies. So 2 of those, it only takes a few minutes. So yeah, all these 3 here are good. Now I do want to make a case. There are Woodworking writs, and you have to craft 3 items for Woodworking for those. So if you don't have a survey yet, you might as well do 2 writs. Just like, even if they're basic ones, because writs have a 12.5% chance to spawn. I always say that for some reason. The reward for a writ is always 12.5% chance. Alright, so if you don't care about doing writs, or yeah, just writs really. So the cheapest set of 4 items that you can possibly make for woodworking will be either bows or staves, doesn't matter which one of these 2. Basically, just don't craft a shield, because it just costs twice as much. So you need 12 standard maple, and you need 4 steel material. Standard maple, you can get this a couple of ways. You can either buy them from guild stores, get the wood yourself. You'll need 20, 20 rough wood, and that it will convert to at least 14, at worst case scenario, 14 standard maple. So that's pretty good. That will take you a little while though, probably like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on how quick you are. Or there is another way. You can loot like bows and shields and stuff like that across in Overland. For example, in Oridon, you've got a bunch of shields here. The only issue with this is if you're max level and you can only craft maple, the items here will not be maple. You need like a character below level 15 to loot the items. In that case, if you've got a character above level 10 but below level 15, you can use Imperial City, the sewer safe zones, because they have shit tons of all sorts of stuff. There's heaps of woodworking items usually, and you can just collect those, deconstruct those, and turn that into standard maple too, and that can also help you. But yeah, you just got to be a bit careful, because yeah, if you're max level, you'll get Nightwood stuff. Remember these days, but yeah, back in the day it used to be 50. But yeah, basically you need to be max level woodworking in order to get access to this stuff. But if you are, that'll be fine anyway. Yeah, in most cases, you can just buy some from guild stores. It's not that expensive. And then style materials, just go to any carpenter in the game and buy them. Personally, I think that's the best way. Because for some reason, people sell them for like 22 gold a piece on like guild stores. I don't know why they're this expensive when you can just buy them on carpenter, like from any of like the crafting vendors for 15 gold each. Like, yeah, don't only do that. I think it's not worth it otherwise. Now, as far as writs go, there's always a board in all of the major zones that you can use for crafting writs. For example, this one here in Vocal Guard, this is one I usually like to go to. So this is where you'd get your woodworking writs, your equipment crafting writs. You need to, if you haven't done them before, you need to start them off by going to the crafting certifiers. They're in different locations. For Oldmeria Dominion characters, they will be here in Vocal Guard's Fighter's Guild Refuge, Fighter's Guild building. They're always in the Fighter's Guild building of the starting town. So, for example, Ebonheart, you'll find them here in Davon's Watch and Stonefalls. Daggerfall, it'll be Glenumbra in Daggerfall itself, and the Fighter's Guild can be found here. So just go to those locations. You'll be able to start off your woodworking writs straight away with them. If I think it's either level 25 or 10, but if you're at that point, you skip that initial quest and just get straight to writs. But that quest, you craft a woodworking item anyway, so it's kind of valuable if you can be bothered. I don't think you even get a choice if you're high level. So if you don't manage to get any surveys from doing your writs today, you can buy them. They usually cost a couple of thousand gold, so it won't be a cheap investment. But if you can do this, it will definitely, like, I guarantee it will be quicker than doing a resource or a trial. So if you want to spend gold on to speed up your endeavors today, you can do that. So yeah, just in guild stores, you want to look up unidentified survey, or just type survey in the item name, and yeah, you get all sorts of stuff. Just be careful buying multiple at once, because it'll give you a unit price, but the total will be much more expensive. Yeah, just try and go the cheapest one, because you're not going to know what's actually in the report until you open it. The report should, I don't know for sure, but they should give you a zone that you own. I've never gotten a survey from any of these that doesn't do that. Let me just firstly go through an add-on that will help you here. It's called Lost Treasure. When you set this up, whenever you have a survey in your character's inventory, it'll appear on the map and you can go and find it. So that way, instead of actually reading the map, I mean, it's not difficult reading these maps, and like, because it just shows you on the actual map where to go. But jewelry crafting, like, surveys don't actually, they tell you in words. So especially for jewelry surveys, I like this. But yeah, you can use this to find them easier, so you know the exact location. And also, you can do the exact same thing if you just type in on Google the survey and then the zone. There'll always be like a website that shows you the location anyway. So if you really want to find it quick, you can do that. I think Lost Treasure also adds the map showing on the actual screen here as well, if you want that too. But go to the location, and as soon as you interact with the items in any way, that's the survey done. But you'll notice it actually removes the survey from your inventory. So as soon as you interact with this survey, you want to collect everything, because at that point, it'll no longer... like, if you come back, like, if you go away and come back, everything will actually despawn. So yeah, you want to make sure you harvest everything. There is a champion point I really suggest you look at if you want to claim your survey, just so you get the most out of it, because these surveys are very valuable. Plentiful Harvest. This increases the chance, or it gives you chance to get double the amount from like nodes. And yeah, so it ends up being 50% chance. So you basically increase the amount of stuff that you get by like, yeah. I think, yeah, it's basically 50%. So that's really, really helpful, because you can kind of use, when you do writs to get surveys, you can use this to basically, all the surveys will give you enough resources to just continue doing your writs from that point. So yeah, it's very valuable getting Plentiful Harvest in this case. Yeah, you need 10, 20, 30, 80, 95, 145 champion points. So what's that in total? 145 times 3. You basically need about 420 champion points to get that point. Maybe a little bit more. Alright, now moving on to stages in the Infinite Archive. You can find this dungeon in Apocrypha, the zone. Now, normally you need Necrom to access this zone, but for the sake of Infinite Archive, this is actually base game. So go to any way shrine that you own. Just find this in the main map. It's on the northwest side of the main map, and you can go in here and just find it. So you can travel here by way shrine, and when you leave, it just takes you back to where you came in from. So it's actually quite convenient. So firstly, you can grab the quest from this guy when you get in if you want, but 2 stages is nowhere near close enough to like get to the point which the quest gets done. So yeah, if you just want to do the 2 stages, don't worry about that. So this is the entrance to get you into Archive. So you just go through this to start it off. So this black circle here is the start of Infinite Archive. As soon as you enter that, it begins the Infinite Archive run. So basically, the 2 stages, there'll be a wave of just little enemies, and then there'll be another wave of little enemies, and then there'll be another wave with a few little enemies, but also like a bigger one. Yeah. So yeah, it starts off pretty chill, and yeah, stages are very simple. It's just basically this 3 times. Yeah, you get all sorts of enemies in here. It's just a smorgasbord of just heaps of different stuff. So on the 3rd wave, you'll get big guys like this. You've got the Minotaur, for example. I hate that backslam. So these guys here, I find it's usually better to kill the little things first, but there's some bigger enemies that I prefer to focus first. This guy's not really one. Same can't be said about... I'm glad there's no Wallbreaker Minotaurs in here, because they're fucking awful in Fuck Retold. But yeah, usually I focus them last, but there's some that I tend to focus first, like the Crow Wraiths, for example. I fucking hate those things, so I'd kill them first. Same with the Iron Atronachs. I find they can be painful. Right, so this is what you get for completing a stage. You get a verse. Now, some of these can be really good, but some, like Archival Assault, for example, can be fucking shit. So, yeah, it just depends on what skills you're using, what verse you get. Some of these can be very powerful, but yeah, I find Archival Assault's probably one of the weakest in the game. Because you get what? It's like 3 abilities. You get Trample, you get Caltrops, and you get Magic Adapt. It's like 2 of these are just like damage over time skills. 1 of these is a fucking 1.5 second cast time. So it's just, ugh. Not worth it, I think. Compared to something like all weapon ability damage, it's like so like the difference is like ridiculous. Right, so sort of the doctrine for fighting enemies in this place, just stick to the range enemies, because the melee enemies will follow you anyway. The ranged ones will try to avoid you. I find it's just better on resources if you just put your dots down on like where a ranged enemy is, because yeah, the melee enemies will just come over to you anyway. They do still move around a lot, but yeah, it helps. Again, ranged enemy here. Got the melee enemies all coming over here. Now sometimes you won't get a big enemy. It just, yeah, sometimes the game just like decides to give you a break. Not give you one. But yeah, most of the time there'll be like one of the big fuckers. Alright, what do we got here? 2... Oh yeah, it doesn't really matter anymore. So that's 2 stages done. But yeah, if you want to get out now, you do have to progress, but what you do instead of fighting the next thing, so it'll be a boss, instead, just go to the index here. So this door leads to the entrance. So from here, you can just leave by going out the portal here. I suppose I should also just make sure I cover all the bases. If you want to reset Infinite Archive, maybe it's like bugged and you can't go through the door or something, you can use this to reset it. This here. So if you hit this, you'll get kicked out of instance, and then everything in Infinite Archive will reset. And yeah, you'll get taken to where you came in from. Alright, next up, capturing a resource in Cyrodiil. So this is the Cyrodiil map, and the resources are these things here around keeps. So you've got the mines, the farms, and the lumber mills. Every one of these keeps has these. Most of the time, the ones that you own will usually have ones under your control, but I think the best case scenario, the quickest ones to go for, are going to be ones under enemy control that are next to your keep. Because 1, you can travel to the keep yourself, and it just shortens the amount of time you're taking getting there. And 2, enemy players cannot spawn at that keep. So if you attack the resource and other players like can take note of it, they can't just travel straight to the keep and get there in like a minute. It takes them a lot longer. So it just gives you more time to take it, and then yeah, just less incentive to go and have a look. Because yeah, that is the thing. This is a PvP zone. These are objectives, and players will look out to protect these objectives usually. Okay, so here's an example of a run-through of a resource. So the very first thing I suggest you do once you get to one of these, and you're going to take it on your own, is don't run straight for this flag in the middle here, okay? If you do that, you're basically doing this the hardest way possible. What you want to do instead is find the tower. It's hard to miss this thing. It's just like a huge building in the middle, just right in front of the resource flag. There is a mage sitting at the top of the tower. When you're fighting these guys, this mage is going to be pelting with shit. The mage is probably like the hardest hitting enemy in this whole group. Maybe aside from some of the attacks that the Honor Guard do. But what you do instead is you go up the stairs, you kill the mage, and these 2 enemies down here will also follow you up. And so you're basically halving the amount of stuff you're dealing with. Because the enemies on the flag, they won't move up to there to try and stop you. These guys will stay still. So you're basically dividing and conquering. You're taking half the group, killing them on the side, and halving the amount of like stuff fighting you at the same bloody time. That's what you're doing here. So I'm just going to rush straight past all these guys, go up the stairs, and then heal myself a bit, because you'll take a bit of a beating as you're going up the stairs. This is, mind you, this is like a low champion point, just like typical build, and this is no CP as well, so no champion points enabled. So yeah, just like a max level build with no champion points, essentially. This is like the worst possible way of doing it, basically, or lowest stat. If you do this on normal champion points, it'll be much better. So yeah, first thing I do, I heal myself a bit, I wait for the first guard to come up, and then I kill them on their own. The healer will usually follow you up as well, but yeah, I focus the mage guard. So once you start fighting this guy, the healers downstairs will start healing other people. I don't know why the hell the healer's healing the guard there, even though the guard was like... The guard downstairs wasn't even bloody damaged. So this here is probably one of the most annoying things that you'll see, the negate. The healers do this, and it prevents you from casting any Magicka skills. So if your stamina build's not too bad, but if you use anything that costs Magicka or ultimate, this thing will be a pain in the ass. So just roll dodge out of it, and then start fighting them again. You've probably seen this attack a couple of times anyway, so yeah. Yeah, so as you can see, I just halve the amount of stuff I'm dealing with at once. And once all the enemies at the stairs are dead, then start focusing on the stuff in the middle. Now, pay full attention to your health constantly, because you'll be taking tons of damage here. Kill the healers first, and interrupt them all the time, otherwise they'll just keep healing the honor guards. If you focus the honor guards first, believe me, it's much harder because of those healers. So get rid of them first, and then deal with the regular guards, and then I think you should deal with the honor guards last. And then that's everything to do with the actual fighting. Now from this point, you're basically waiting for the flag to swap over to your faction. Now, I was lucky here, someone else came to help me. If you do this with multiple people, it's faster. The more players on the flag at a time, the quicker the flag will actually get taken. Alright, so as soon as you see this alliance points and this thing captured, whatever it says, that immediately tells you that the resource is done. So from this point, you can run off into the distance. Your job's done. Okay, so now instead of going all the way back to either a keep or to like wherever you came from, instead go to Imperial City and queue for that instead. What it does is it takes you out of Cyrodiil, puts you in a safe area in the Imperial City, and then you turn around, there's like a tunnel with a door, you just go to that, and that will take you back out to where you started from before you even entered Cyrodiil. So yeah, don't go the other door, always look for the door with the tunnel. And yeah, as you can see, we're in Auradon now. Alright, so now let's talk about trials. The reason I don't really suggest this one over the other options is generally because trials take so long to form a group. Usually, it will take like 30 minutes to an hour. I don't want to do a trial for the sake of this, just because, you know, knowing what fate does for me, you know, the video will be out by fucking 12 PM. I don't want that. So what I'll do instead, I'll just go through some basic, like, information that I think you should know if you want to start a trial, or just even look for one. And then if you've got any real questions, just like chuck something in the comments and I'll have a look. And just also like read up on or watch some guides on like a trial you want to look at. Or in the case of like normal trials, just jumping in, just find a trial here. That's another thing. Like, they might not even be trials up. Trials are designed for 12 people. So getting 12 people takes fucking ages usually. Like, on a typical Cloud Rest run, you'll spend more time looking for a group than actually doing the trial. It's absurd. But yeah, so just go into a trial like a normal trial. Don't go into a veteran one, please, if you're just learning. And just say, like, when you get into the group, just say you haven't done it before. 99% of players will be chill, and the other 1% that has a problem with that really need to fucking take a look at their lives. So yeah, I've done hundreds of trials, and I would tell you right now, I probably had like 10 that have been shit runs. Everything else has been good. So yeah, there are a lot of trials in this game. It's important to understand that they are DLC dependent, most of them. This is a list of the abbreviations as well. So you'll see a lot of these abbreviations used in the Trial LFG channel. And these are the DLCs you need. So if you have these DLCs, like you'll know you'll be able to do them. Keep that in mind too. I'll link this in the description if you want to have a look as well. Like a link to that on Imgur, just if you want to know. So now let me just go through some things regarding to the roles that can help you. So tanks, firstly, you need a taunt. If you don't have a taunt, you're not a tank. You're just a tanky damage dealer. No other information can really dissuade me from that idea. You're not a tank. You're just not. There's a lot of well, there's not a lot, but there's a few taunts in this game that might not be as familiar to you as the main ones. But generally, you want Puncture. This is the really cheap taunt. It's melee, and you need Sword and Board for you to use it. Destruction Staff. If you have an Ice Staff, you can also use Frost Clench to taunt. It does reduce the range to. Oh, sorry, the reach. Morph increase the range. Never mind. Yeah, 15 meters. That one, the max. So one of the other interesting ones though is any skill that pulls targets will taunt enemies if they're not already taunted. So for example, Silver Leash here, it does the same thing as Ice Staff taunt, except it also pulls enemies in. So using this can also be really handy because you want a skill that pulls stuff in. Dragonauts are great for any instance where you need taunt and a pull because they've got Fiery Grip through the Ardent Flame skill line. So yeah, that's really good. There aren't many taunts in class kit styles, mostly related to like world skill lines and stuff. Really good taunt is Inner Fire, which is in the Undaunted skill line. You'll get it pretty quick, because getting to level 3 Undaunted does not take very long. But yeah, this one here has a synergy that other players can activate to just deal a bunch of damage, which I think they nerfed it a little bit ago to make it really weak. I'm not too familiar though. I know it was like absolutely broken, the synergy, for a while. Yeah, there's a Magic Morph and a Stamina Morph too, so if you want to make sure you've got good like resource usage, you can do that too. That's mostly all you need to know with tanks. Just have a taunt. Basically, you qualify as a tank, and then just make sure you have some heals. Like for example, Nightblade, they've got Malevolent Offering, they've got Siphoning attacks for extra just bit of healing done. Sap Essence is really good too, and Swallow Soul, because these just heal you as you use them. One-Handed Shield has defensive posture. This can be good just as like an oh shit button, because it gives you a shield. Shields are good. Now, healing, there are only really 2 skills I think or 3 skills if you can. But yeah, there's 2 that you really ever need in like majority of stuff. Grand Healing and Blessing and Protection Morph to Combat Prayer. As long as you got these 2, honestly, in like normal trials, you'll do okay as a healer. You obviously want more. You want like support sets like Spell Power Cure and all those support sets that you'll see on Healer's Haven if you look on that Discord, like they explain that stuff. But yeah, basically just Blessing and Protection, Combat Prayer, and then Grand Healing, you're good. And then also, if you can, through the Undaunted skill line, get a Necrotic Orb morph to Energy Orb, and that when that like goes through your group, it heals players, and also they can activate a synergy to get resources back. This is like one of the staple things that like sort of high-end healers use to give everybody resources. There's also things like Wardens have, in the Green Balance skill line, they have a skill that gives people Minor Toughness, which increases their max health, so they can react to incoming damage better because they have more health to heal through. Necromancers have other things, like Necromancers have got something that resurrects people. Don't really need this in old trials, but it can be handy in new trials. Apart from that, I guess you could also look at Warhorn for both of these, but this is only something I think you really need in vet content when damage check or DPS checks are more important. And I mean that's most like of the older trials, I guess. Anyway, though some new ones do have some. Like, for example, Rockgrove, Bussy, on Veteran, that, like, you want to kill the fucking Colossus things in a certain amount of time. And then Barrier 2 is good for support builds. Because it basically just trivializes certain, like, damage checks. No, not damage checks, like, damage taking stuff, Yeah, you get the picture. And then damage dealers, there's, like, so many fucking guards out there, it's ridiculous. so many video guides, so many written guides to like explain how to do damage. But basically just gold your weapons, have like decent gear like Order's Wrath and like Mother's Sorrow or Heartland Conqueror or something like that. Just like 2 decent damage stats. Have a spamable skill, have a couple of like good main frontline damage skills that like do utility stuff. Have some damage over time skills, a ground targeted AoE, and have infuse in the back with weapon damage. That's like probably one of the best things for like AoE stuff. And just have a heal too. Damage healers, I think you should be running a heal as well, because sometimes you just in the moment you get separated from like where the healers are focusing. It's good to have a heal for yourself just in case. And block. My god, how many times I've saved my own life in a trial when it's chaotic if I just block. Holy fucking shit. Alright, so I think that's enough information. Like I said, if you want any more specifics, please just put them in the comments, because I don't want this video taking a million years to upload. But yeah, that should be everything for now. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks to your support as always. We'll see you next time. And take care for now.